So I did a little setup before going to bed here, so I can wake up nice and early tomorrow morning and get started on this build. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of an idea of just laying everything out, making sure I have everything. Got the QAV-R frame here. I got some files for my alien. Doing a KISS flight controller. The 24 amp ESCs, they're version 1.03, so they're good to go. I can run D-Shot on there. Got a PDB from Atmospheric Adventures. It's got a 5 volt and a 12 volt step down. 2.5 millimeter GoPro lens for the Runcam Swift. Just a bunch of XT60 connectors. These I'm really excited about. These are the new Lumenier 2206-2450 kV motors. So I'm really excited to try those. Also have a Lumenier 200 milliwatt VTX that has a microphone in it. So I'm really interested to try audio for the first time. A little worried that I'm gonna really like it and need to put it on all my other builds, but excited to try that out. Then I have my soldering set up here, my arms for just holding things, and then lots and lots of silicon wire so I can never have too much, and then my session here for getting some other shots and making sure that everything's going to fit up nicely. One thing I will mention off the bat is the camera mount for the QAV-R is very similar to the Kratos, so at some point before I mount the camera up, I'm probably just going to design a little 3D printed camera mount. Again, pretty much a copy of my alien, just because I like that style of camera mount and I think it's a lot more effective at holding the camera up. So I'll design that. Probably post a link in the description so you guys can download it and print them out for your QAV-Rs. Unless there is already one on Thingiverse, so I'll have to look into that. And if there is, I'll put a link into the description so you guys can go download that and use it on your QAV-R as well. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the morning when we start the build. Alright, so the first step I did was just took the frame out of the bag, went over the edges with the files that I got with my alien, just to smooth them down, make them a little bit more rounded, and just to get some of the carbon dust off of there. Make sure you're washing that underwater. Stuff is not good for you. So that was the first step. Next step, I think I'm going to start to pull the motors out and the ESCs, start to tin all those, get those ready for soldering. Alright, so I just went on a little bit of a soldering spree there. Soldered all of my ESCs, just got all the connections crossed, and then on the bottom as well. Did my PDB, and then the KISS flight controller. Did the top and the bottom there. Just the first, third, fourth, and sixth on the bottom, if you're looking at it like that. And then up here, first, third, fourth, and sixth, and then the first three. And that should be pretty much all the soldering to the boards that I need. And then all the wires will obviously be soldering to those various components. So next step from here I think is to start getting some approximate lengths for the motors. And then I can start getting ready to solder those to the ESCs. Alright, just a quick little update on how the frame goes together. You're given, I think, 10 millimeter M3s, and then I believe these are 6 millimeter M3s. But basically the way the frame goes together is everything you see here is with the longer 10 millimeter nuts. So basically all those bolts you start by slotting in, just putting the arms, put these 4 middle ones in. Then once you put the 4 middle ones in, you can screw this middle divider in. Just keep that relatively loose because you're going to want to shift things around. And then you want to put these next pieces in so you can put the outside ones in. So drop those outside screws in on each of those and put these little plastic pieces in. Because your power distribution board is going to be sitting on this, you want the inside to be slightly elevated, that way it's not sitting on this piece in the middle here. So again, these are all the 10 millimeter, the longer bolts that come with it. So once you get all those in, you can tighten them up if you want. I'm going to leave them just relatively loose for now because I'm still getting all the wiring lengths and everything accurate, and I'm going to be moving the quad around, and I don't really need it to be super tight at the moment. But now that I have that on, the next steps are to mount one of the motors to the arms and just get an approximate length for where the ESC is going. and then some lengths for the PDB. Just to comment, the motors are identical in size, obviously, because they're 2206 to the 2206 2300s, but they're 2450, and I can definitely tell a little bit more of an aggressive kink to every turn. So the dead spots, it takes a little bit more effort to turn it, whereas the 2300 KVs are a lot smoother. That's most likely due to the stronger magnets in here to get a little bit more power. So it'll be interesting to see the differences between how this one flies and how my Alien flies with the 2206 2300s. But yeah, so next step, mount the motors, get some wiring lengths. So the only thing I've done is just cut all the motor wires to length. These should give me plenty of room to solder. I'm going to put a little kink in the wires, just give them a little stress relief. So yeah, the ESCs are going to be mounted right about there. So once I have them all soldered, so next step, just strip all the motor wires and solder them to all the ESCs. Alright, so I've soldered all the motors up to the ESCs. Next step is to put the motors on, give them a little kink, and then get the positive and negative to the power distribution board here. And then next step after that will be measure the wires for the flight controller, run them to the flight controller, make sure all that's just perfect. So just a little quick reminder, I didn't solder the jumper here on any of the ESCs yet, so I'm going to do that to 2 of them, and then those 2 will be the front left and the back right here, because that's the way it works in the KISS flight controller. So then I've already cut two wires for the front 2. I'm going to do the same thing for the back 2 then, to get these motor lengths, or excuse me, these these wire lengths correctly. PDB goes in like that, to curl them around there and solder all that up now. Alright, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an update here. I have all the ESCs and motors soldered to the power distribution board. The next steps, I'm going to actually attach my XT60. I've got my orange and blue like I do for all my builds. And once I solder the XT60 on and get that all heat shrinked up, then I'm going to do all the power, or excuse me, the signal and ground for all the ESCs going to the flight controller. Measure all those lengths out, and I'll probably do that on the frame just because it'll be a little bit easier to look at and work on once I know the exact lengths there. But again, just a reminder, so this is actually front, so this is motor 1, 2, 3, 4, so jumper's here and here. But other than that, I'm gonna work on the XT60 now. Alright, just a quick update. I've got the XT60 soldered on, cranked my soldering iron up to 850. Not because it's necessarily going to get to 850, but because you need a lot of energy to be able to melt both the pad and these 12 gauge wire at the same time. So now that I have all that soldered up, I'm probably going to just loosely bolt this to the frame and just get an idea for the other wire lengths coming off the ESCs, such as the signal wire and the ground wire that need to go to the flight controller, which is back here and already soldered up. So this is going to go on, I believe, going on like this. So it's actually, let's see, I have this backwards, I believe. Let me think. Yep. Yeah, so this is actually going to be flipped all the way around. There we go. So this is our front left. We have those 2 like that, and then this will go like so. And then we just have some plastic standoffs that I have that'll go just like that. So now I just need to measure basically all the wire lengths, mount it up to the frame, and then we'll double check that everything's right. And then also just bring some power from the board up to the flight controller here, and then I'm also going to file out the edges of the flight controller to make sure that that fits fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it right now. Thought I'd do a little mid-progress update. So I have motor 1 and 2 soldered into the flight controller, the ESCs, excuse me. So the motor 1 just goes on top like that, ground and signal, and then motor 2, ground and signal. I'll probably clean up those They don't look the best right now, but I'll clean them up. Next steps, I'm going to do motor 3 and 4. And then after that, I'm going to start working on getting the camera and VTX all soldered in. So I just finished soldering motors 3 and 4. Motor 3 goes right up top here, and then motor 4 goes right in the bottom here, right in that spot. Yeah, so now I'm going to, I'll either solder on the piece, the little plug. I'm going to take this, just cut the wires off of that, and solder that directly to this so I can plug it into my X4R. So I'll probably do that next, figure out where the X4R is going. Probably down here or something, somewhere near there. And then where my video transmitter is going, camera mount, and everything else. Alright, so I've decided how I'm gonna put the rest of this together. I'm gonna have my X4R sitting on the ground right here. That way I can just run it right to the standoffs right here. Do the old zip tie trick for the Rotorite guys do. And then I'm basically just gonna run this lead underneath the PDB up to here, and then camera will obviously be in the front. And then my VTX is going to be attached to the top plate right in the back here. I'm probably going to either double side tape or potentially do some zip ties around that. So that's going to be underneath like so, or the other way, so that way I can access the button. But yeah, I didn't realize how tall these these standoffs are. So I actually have a lot of room to work with. But yeah, that's pretty much the game plan for now. So I'll check back with you guys once I have this soldered up, the X4R mounted, and then I'll be working on getting the VTX and camera soldered in. Alright, so sorry I didn't jump in a little bit sooner, but I was just checking some things. So the thing I like about this atmospheric Adventures PDB, it's got a 12 volt and a 5 volt right on the side here, and then instead of having to join the two wires together, you can just solder your camera and your two camera wires, so the one going out of the camera into the video transmitter. So I have the 12 volts going to power my video transmitter here. It's just a Lumenier Raceband 200 milliwatt, and then I have the 5 volts going to power the camera because I'm using the Runcam Swift, and it can handle 5 to 17 volts. So I really like that about this PDB. And then I also forgot, but the other nice thing is it has a couple of these small outputs on the side. These are direct from the battery. So I took those and plugged those into the power for the flight controller. So now the flight controller gets power as well. And I just did a quick plug-in test. Everything lights up, looks awesome. So something I didn't mention earlier, but I am going to do to this build is I am going to waterproof this one. So I have the silicon conformal coating, so I'm going to be putting that on very shortly. I'm basically just going to have to loosen up the motor so I can get to the underside of the ESCs, but I'm basically just going to be coating that on pretty much everything except for the connectors. I don't have any Corrosion X or anything similar to that at the moment, so I'm going to have to either wait on that and not fly in the rain yet, or go see if I can find something at a hardware store. If you guys have any other suggestions for what to use other than Corrosion X, definitely leave a comment below, let me know. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching so far up to this point. Basically what I'm going to do now, it's been about 3.5 hours, a little under. This is my quickest build to date. That was my first build, took me 6 hours. You can see I smashed the GoPro. Had a little bit of a fail-safe because I was flying out of my car and near a lot of metal. Didn't really end so well, but that quad's fine. Just need to print another session mount. Then I have the Kratos. That one took me about 5 hours. I have another build video for that you guys can watch if you're interested. And then this guy is about 3.5 hours. Just have to put basically the plates on, plug the camera in. So all said and done, it'll be under 4 hours complete. But I'm waterproofing it, which I didn't do to any of the other builds, so that's going to take me a lot more time to go through and make sure that everything is waterproof. But yeah, so I'll show you guys the finished product once it's all waterproofed and put together. I'm also going to design some plates so I can use the back piece of the Runcam Swift here to hold that angle, because I really do enjoy that on my Alien and now my Kratos because I made that. So I'm going to do the same thing for this. So the next time you guys will see this, pretty much everything will be together. So I don't know if I mentioned, but I have some standoffs that I'm using. I think just 6mm by 6mm. I did have to cut the ends because when it goes in too far, so you can't tighten them. So I just cut the ends off of that to mount the flight controller, and then I'm just going to run M3 bolts on the top to mount the flight controller down. But yeah, so the next time you guys see this, this will be pretty much all together. Alright, so a little bit of an update, quick update here. I've mounted all the ESCs, waterproofed them all, and then just wrapped them in electrical tape. Put a little piece of foam underneath, I don't know if you can see that, just to give it a little bit of cushioning. These are actually just from the red bottom motors. Put my receiver back in, waterproofed all that. Waterproofed my video transmitter, the board cam, stay away from the sensor for the Runcam. And then I found out, I also did the PDB, and then I found out that my 12 volt step down is not working, so I wasn't getting any power to my VTX, so I just did it to this little pad back here, which will just give me the same battery voltage, which is fine because this VTX will be able to filter it, and it shouldn't give me any problems because I'm also running the camera off of 5 volts anyways. So hopefully I shouldn't have any problems with the battery voltage spiking and affecting my video feed. If it does, maybe I'll figure out a workaround, but really like this PDB and the fact that it has just so many locations to solder to and get power off of. But basically the next steps are to get the top plate mounted and ready, get this set up to the VTX mounted to come up the back, and then I'm going to design my plate for the Runcam Swift here, and then put the 2.5mm GoPro lens on there. And other than that, we're pretty much done, other than setting it up. So the next time you will see this, it will definitely be all together, and I'll have my Runcam mount made, and I'll put a link in Thingiverse for that. Alright, here you guys have it. This is the finished build. You can see I made my Runcam Swift mount here. This thing is extremely solid and not going anywhere. Heck of a lot better than the stock mount. So I'm really happy with this. Obviously going with the top mount battery because you pretty much have to with this quad. Battery leads come up here, should have plenty of clearance. No issues there. I ended up just kind of wrapping my battery or my antennas just up here and electrical taping them, so they should be good and stay nice and sturdy there. And then I just put 2 feet in the middle there and 2 up here, so it's kind of like a tripod. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything's waterproofed except for just the connectors. I just need to spray some Corrosion X in there. So once I get some of that in, I will do that, and this thing will be fully waterproof. I did the board cam and everything already. So yeah, just going to put a little piece of foam up here for the battery, figure out a way to get a Runcam Swift on here that's not going to block my view at all. Or excuse me, not a Runcam. Get a Hero 5 session that I have. Because right now, if I put this here, my battery is probably going to have to be pretty far back. So I'm going to try to see if I can shift this as far forward as possible, while still staying out of the view of the camera. So we'll see what we can do there. I'll probably make a 30-degree mount, and I'll throw that up on Thingiverse once I'm done with that. Yeah, but pretty much this is the QAV-R that I built. We got a nice little, I can just push the button in here for the Lumenier race band video transmitter there. And everything, I tightened down all the bolts, so this is pretty much it. I'll throw it up here next to my Alien, so you get a good idea. It's a little bit, it looks a little shorter. It's really hard to tell. I'm pretty sure the arms are in the same location. The arms look like they're a little narrow. I think that's kind of just an illusion because the body's actually shorter, whereas the Alien, it's stretched out a little bit. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with the build. I think it looks extremely clean. As you can see, there's a lot of space in there. I could probably put an OSD in there if I wanted to, or something else, but I'm going to take the little piece of foam that they give you here and just cut a couple strips to kind of put throughout here for the battery to sit on. Probably one big one here, and then I'll probably leave this because this is where I'm going to mount my session. And then just have a Velcro strap going around for the battery in the session. I'm going to make the session mount bolt in there as well, but that's for another day. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll let you guys know in a future video, flight video. I'll do a little review of these motors if you guys are interested, because they are pretty new. Alright, so I thought I'd film this little quick update. It's the next day. Made a couple changes just due to some problems that I had basically, and also one big important thing. So apparently, unlike the other Lumenier motors, these motors spin in the opposite direction when you have wires 1, 2, and 3 plugged in normally. So instead of jumpering motors 1 and 2, you actually have to jumper motors 2 and 4. So that's a big note. I'll make note of that in the description. Also, you probably saw that in the beginning of the video because I'll add a little annotation in there. So that's one thing that's different about these motors versus the older 2206, 2300 kV motors or 2350 kV motors. Also, my video transmitter positioning. So I actually ended up putting the Tramp in there. If you can see, it's kind of tucked away in the side underneath there. And that has the little pigtail coming off of it. I don't know how well you can see that. But my first video transmitter, unfortunately I didn't have the antenna solidly mounted enough, so it ended up snapping off the end of the VTX antenna, which is obviously not good and a waste of a VTX, unfortunately. So basically, long story short, I just went to this setup with the Tramp where the little SMA connector is kind of loosely mounted here, just one zip tie, but then all of the reinforcements right on the end of the antenna, so this is really strong. I also filed this back end out more so I could fit the antenna to slide it back in there, and then just cut a little piece in the gasket here so this could slide in. So now if I land on my back, the antenna can just fold up, no worries, and if I land on the top, the battery is going to be here, so it's not really going to get crushed significantly more. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, overall, these motors ridiculously fast. It's a noticeable improvement over the Alien, speed-wise and power. And I haven't really noticed that they're any less smooth, so to speak. I think they're great running motors, and I haven't really noticed a huge difference in that aspect, so I'm really happy. Next steps for me are I'm going to design a session mount, try to keep it as far forward as possible so it doesn't affect the battery, since we do have a little bit shorter real estate versus the Alien here. But yeah, I look forward to that next video of me designing a session mount for this thing. And then I'll post some flight footage once I get the session on there. Sorry I didn't have any DVR for my first few flights. My memory card was full in my goggles, unfortunately. But thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and be sure to check out my future flight videos with this thing.